All right, you guys, welcome back. It's Deontay. We got another episode about this hanging that happened in Mississippi. Very sad that happened. Once again, it was two of them, black and white. You know, people try to make it a race bait thing, and it shouldn't be. The young man, it was ruled as a suicide. The other young man, I didn't do my research on that one, but as far as Trey Reed, he once again all black situation when it came down to the coroner, the president, and also the police officer, I believe. All black. They all said the same thing that was no foul play. Video showed that he hanged himself, but nah, it should never happen. We need to figure out why it happened. Why did he hang himself? And I could be wrong about the president being black, but I know it was at least two blacks that was involved when it came to investigating the situation. And I'm letting my man, the black conservative perspective, break it down too. You got Colin Kaepernick. He wants to fund the independent autopsy, which I get and all. Nothing wrong with that, but it's been proven already. But let's go. And also do your research, man. Everybody posted saying it was two black young men that killed themselves or was hanging, but it was not that.
Like clockwork, all of the violence is never the answer folk have gone back into being quiet. When it was Charlie Kirk, y'all were fine calling that out. But when it was Trey Reed, a 21-year-old black student at Delta State University in Mississippi who was unalived by, none of y'all want to say nothing about that. Trey's body was found at 7 a.m. near the pickleball courts on campus, and the classes and all of the events at the university were canceled for the whole week. Law enforcement has said that there is no foul play suspected in their investigation, but think about this for a second. Do you understand the history of strange fruit in this country? Do you understand what this symbol means? This is not a way that black people die if there is no foul play involved. There is foul play involved. There were bruises and broken bones involved. His family.
Once again, all that is a lie. But later on in this video, I'm gonna show you where he's gonna show you, my man, the black conservative perspective. He's gonna show you a video at the end where it was something totally different what he's talking about.
Has asked that we do not share any graphic images of Trey's body, but they are demanding accountability and justice. We must not let his story get swept under the rug when so many people have been so quiet about it.
So y'all are upset that it wasn't a white mob that unalived that young man at the university, Delta University in Mississippi. Y'all are upset that it wasn't.
She's going to cook.
Because
Please
the black
up.
police chief, university chief, came out and said that he saw the videos and it seems to be a suicide. Then you had the black coroner's office, which is black men, that also coincided his reports with the university police. And then you also have the Black County Sheriff as well. All of them are in on this investigation in a town that is predominantly black. But you're upset because you couldn't use this to continue your race hustling, your division, and grifting for gains in clicks and likes. I've never seen so much confusion for people that say that we live in a white supremacist society, but y'all have to look high and low, scour everywhere to find something to coincide with your narrative.
All right, guys, so we got to continue our coverage of what I believe to be probably one of the most disgusting grifts that I've seen in this country in a long time. And that has to do with the story involving Trey Reed, the black college student in Mississippi that apparently hung himself. Now, you have essentially an all-black team of individuals that are responsible for investigating the death of this college student. And they've essentially come to the conclusion that he hung himself, that he committed suicide. Very sad, very tragic. However, I don't think this is really a national news story. And people are trying to make this a national news story because they really, really, really want to, one, distract from Charlie Kirk, which again is why they're talking about this young man in the first place. But also they want to push the race narrative, which is that this young black student was hung by a white mob, even though there's no evidence or proof whatsoever that happened. Okay, this came from an unfounded rumor spread on the internet by an individual claiming to be the cousin of Trey Reed, and come to find out the individual was not actually Trey Reed's cousin, that he doesn't know Trey Reed like that, and basically he was spreading these unfounded rumors for clicks and likes. Okay, but
See, there you go. Everybody who seen me them TikTok videos, and I keep saying the same thing over and over again. Do y'all research, man. Y'all did no research. It's awesome. Why you not saying nothing now? I don't need to say nothing. I proved my point. That's the whole point. Facts over feelings.
despite all that, again, the race hustlers and some of these woke activists, these liberals, are convinced that there's no way that a black man would hang himself.
Let me just give my thoughts on the Trey Reed update. Autopsy came in and basically saying he did it himself, right? We all know that's a lie. Now, I stayed quiet all week. All the white folks start coming in, they start inboxing me. I
should have
told
stayed
you,
quiet.
He did it himself. Oh, you want to spread misnews and all this stuff. I keep telling y'all white folks, black people don't hang themselves, especially in Mississippi. So shut the fuck up. And for two, the reason why I haven't posted is because I'm waiting on the family to post. I'm waiting on the family to keep us updated. I'm not just going to keep posting just for the fun of it, because everything ain't about likes and views. And not only that, I'm a content creator. I got other videos to put out. And I've been told y'all what I thought. Y'all got to look at Trey Reed case like this. When they first found him, within the first hour, they already said he did it himself. Before the autopsy was ever thought of, with the autopsy or without the autopsy, they had already said he did it himself. That's the point that y'all missing. That's the biggest red flag in the case. Now, I'm going to say this right here, and I'm going to leave the case alone until the family speak out. Delta State University trying their best to cover up Trey Reed case. Because, let me just tell y'all this, everything is about money. If Trey Reed case come back as if somebody did that to him on Delta State University campus, that campus can lose a lot of money, or that campus can shut down. Them white people ain't finna let their campus shut down, so they rather just cover it up. That's my opinion. It's money over lives. Y'all gotta think about it. If they come out and say Trey Reed was hung in a tree at Delta State University, all the students probably gonna down there transfer. That's one bag that Delta State gonna lose, because ain't nobody gonna feel safe on campus. If they lose too many kids, they gonna have to shut it down. They gonna have to shut it down because now they got a bad name. They went from a 5-star university to a damn 1.2 with nothing but bad results. So how you think they're gonna make Delta State look? My point is that.
Right, this is what they have brainwashed themselves into believing, that it had to be a white mob, despite the fact that the black coroner, the black sheriff, all the black individuals involved with this says, no, this is a suicide. And the official state autopsy confirmed that this was a suicide. But some people just don't want to believe that that's what this was. So let's go ahead and get into this.
Delta State University and the Cleveland Police Department say Reed's autopsy proves he died by suicide. Some DSU students accepted this information, while others are still skeptical. Students on Delta State University's campus react to the Cleveland Police Department's ruling of Trey Reed's death.
I don't have much of an opinion on the autopsy. I'd like to think that they aren't lying, but considering the history of Mississippi, it's hard to be sure.
On Thursday, it was ruled that the 21-year-old DSU student died by suicide. Reed was found hanging from a tree on the university's campus near the pickleball courts Monday.
The family needs to hire their own personal
man.
investigator. I think they need to do their own investigator.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who stepped in to represent Reed's family, said they are seeking an independent autopsy. Reed's grandfather said he is suspicious of CPD's initial ruling on Reed's death because they were misinformed by officials.
He told me that they found Trey Reed in his room.
Crump is also demanding that they are shown a video of what led to Trey's death.
You keep telling us what to believe, but you're not showing us any evidence, showing us any video.
Cleveland police say all files and materials have been turned over to the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office for review. They add final toxicology results could take 2 to 4 weeks to complete.
If he really did kill himself, I hope his family finds peace. And if he didn't, I hope his family finds justice.
The Trey Reed's independent autopsy is being paid for by the Colin Kaepernick's Know Your Rights Camp Autopsy Initiative.
Yeah, so there you have it. Does anybody need more evidence and proof that this is a giant grift? Okay, that this is just a bunch of race hustlers desperately wanting this story to be something that it seems as if, based off the facts and evidence as of right now, it isn't, right? This is not a story about a white mob lynching a black college student. It's just not. But they really want it to be, right? And it's really sad. It really is. It's really sad that you have people who can't just accept that all of the black people involved, the black leadership involved, says that, hey, this is not a white mob that killed this young man. This young man was probably going through some mental health issues and decided to take his own life. They can't accept that because for whatever reason, they believe it's impossible for a black man to want to hang himself. I don't get it, right? I really don't. But I actually do get it because ultimately these people are just.
You know what's sad about the situation, man? My cousin hanged himself about 2 years ago. My older brother died of colon cancer, stage 4. No, colon cancer part don't matter, but that's my older brother, and that shit hit home. But my cousin also, he's black. He hung himself. Come on, man.
Disgusting, right? They're disgusting individuals. Okay, Ben Crump, Colin Kaepernick. That's all you need to know. Ben Crump and Colin Kaepernick have gotten in on this grip. So what happens when the independent autopsy is done and it shows the same thing that the state autopsy says, right? Which is that there were no broken bones. There was no bruises. There was no sign of physical confrontation that you normally would see in a situation where there was actually a physical struggle, okay? No, we don't have any of that. What are they going to do? Are they going to accept the autopsy results and say that, hey, you know what? This is a suicide? Are they then going to move on and talk about how maybe, just maybe, we should have a conversation about mental health in this country, right? Because I think that is a real conversation we should be having about, well, what led this young man to do this, right? What was he going through that made him decide that, hey, this is the best way for me to deal with this? But sadly, that conversation is not happening because the people who claim to be so concerned about what happened to Trey Reed don't give a damn about Trey Reed. They don't care. All they care about is his dead black body being used for their own political agenda, being used for their own political gain, for their own clout,
man.
Okay? For their own
very
hustle.
Sad.
That's the only thing they are concerned about because it's hard to hustle off of
the left, the Democrats, the left and Democrats ready to burn something down, ready to cause a division in America, and that's sad. They're supposed to be the unity of peace and love, yet they so quick to just push for violence.
A black man killing himself, right? You can't really hustle off that, but you can hustle hard off of a white mob killing a black man, okay? This is why they wish that is what happened to Trey Reed, right? They're wishing, they're trying to manufacture the reality that they want, okay? Because again, the suicide explanation, that's just not juicy enough, right? Black man hanging from a tree in Mississippi, come on. Got to be a white mob involved. There has to be a white man involved, okay? Because again, for them, that story will be useful for their pockets, right? It will be useful for their grip. It will be useful for the political agenda that they're trying to push. This is why Ben Crump is involved. This is why Colin Kaepernick is involved. Again, I ask if Colin Kaepernick actually funds this independent autopsy and it shows that this black student hung himself, are these people going to accept that and move on? Or they're going to continue to, quote unquote, demand justice? I don't know, right? But my gut feeling is that they're going to move on, right? They're going to move on past it because these people have shown time and time again that they only care when it fits a certain narrative. They only care when a white person is involved. They don't care when, again, a black person kills themselves, right? Or when black people kill each other, because
this is the video right here I was talking about. Now hear this story right
what
here.
I found to
This
be
is
fascinating
amazing.
about all this is that all these people who claim to be so concerned about Trey Reed had absolutely no concern whatsoever about Mahogany Jackson, who was a young girl from Alabama, right? So we're talking about in that area, okay, of the South, who was lynched, who was actually lynched, except it wasn't by a white mob, it was by a black mob. And for whatever reason, all these people who are so concerned about black people being lynched, right? Black people being lynched in America had absolutely no concern whatsoever about a black woman being lynched by a black mob, which tells you everything you need to know about what these people actually care about. They don't give a damn about black people being lynched. All they care about is being able to point the finger at a white person and say, hey, a white person lynched a black person, right? But again, when it's black people lynching black people, which, you know, hey, just saying, we got an actual story about that. Again, for whatever reason, it flew under the radar of the race hustlers, right? Colin Kaepernick did not step up and support the family of Mahogany Jackson, who was actually lynched. So without further ado, let's look back at this story.
Here we go.
And try to figure out why is it that the race hustlers didn't pick up on what happened to Mahogany Jackson.
Tonight, new details in the death of Mahogany Jackson. 6 of the 8 suspects in court today. Thank you so much for joining us here at 6. I'm Brittany Decker.
I'm Guy Rawlings. We've been following the Mahogany Jackson case. WVTM 13's Aaron Llewellyn, live and local in Birmingham tonight, outside the Jefferson County Courthouse. A lot of the details too gruesome to talk about, Aaron.
Yeah, Guy, Brittany, the hearing today lasted for about 3 hours, and the legal teams went through the details of what led up to Mahogany Jackson's death and even uncovered some new details about her final moments. And some of it was too unbearable for her family to hear. Now, today we know that the defense attorneys claim that Jackson was at one of the suspects' house, Brandon Pope, and questioned him about a gun that she says was stolen and money that was also stolen from her purse at some point throughout the day. She even made him strip to prove he didn't have it. Now, Pope told Harris to do something to her because she made him strip. Now, the detectives working the case say Jackson was assaulted multiple times throughout the time she was being held against her will. Now, both Jackson and some of the suspects' families were in the courtroom today for the detailed hearing, some of it becoming emotional. Now, District Attorney Danny Carr says her family might be disappointed some of the charges were reduced or thrown out, but they are one step closer to justice.
They understand the circumstances, but they also appreciate what we have in front of us, and they understand that this is a marathon and not a sprint. There's still a lot of work ahead of us, and we'll be there with them every step of the way and make sure that there's accountability.
Now, later in the day before Jackson died, she was put in Harris's car, and he, Pope, and McDowell took her to clean Harris's car out. Even though the defense claims Harris said they were taking her back to her house. That's when Harris is accused of pulling the trigger and shooting Jackson in the back of the head. Now, District Attorney Danny Carr calls this one of the most gruesome murders he's ever seen.
Since I've been in his office, I've had some, yes. Some of y'all may be, I was young too at the time, but the Thanksgiving homicide at the Airport Inn Hotel, where 3 people were brutally murdered in the Airport Inn Hotel on Thanksgiving morning. I actually handled that case and tried it myself. That was a very brutal case. This one, unlike that one, the brutality kind of played itself out in real time because there's a video involved.
Now, this case is still being investigated, so new details could emerge in the coming days. And the things that are still being investigated are rape kits and ballistic results. Now, the 2 other suspects in this case are expected to be back in court for the same hearing on Monday. For now, we're live in Birmingham. Aaron Llewellyn, WVTM 13.
Yeah, so as you can see here, the local news clearly doesn't want to get into the brutal details of what happened to Miss Mahogany Jackson, who again was a 20-year-old from Jasper, Alabama. But I'm going to get into the details because I want you guys to understand, again, exactly what happened to this young girl. And again, this is apparently a story that the race hustlers, the so-called Black Lives Matter activists, don't seem to care about, because Miss Jackson was held against her will assaulted and tortured over several hours. She was dragged by her hair, forced to strip, restrained by handcuffs. She was sexually assaulted, and some of the actions were videotaped by the suspects. Okay? So what you have here, again, is an actual lynching. An actual lynching. We're talking about charges including capital murder, kidnapping, rape / sodomy, felony murder. Okay? And you got 6 to 8 people involved. An actual lynching. An actual lynching. Which, again, apparently is something that these people are so concerned about. But none of these people talked about Mahogany Jackson and what happened to her. None of these people had any concern whatsoever. Now, you know who did talk about it at the time? I talked about it on this channel. I covered this story, right? But again, there are a lot of these race hustlers who, again, claim they love black people so much. They're so concerned about black lives. But for whatever reason, a 20-year-old black woman was lynched in Alabama, right? In Alabama. And none of these people cared. They didn't cover it. They didn't talk about it. They did not care at all. Ben Crump was not on the scene. Colin Kaepernick was not donating any money to the family. Tariq Nasheed and the FBAs said absolutely nothing, didn't give a damn. This FBA woman was lynched. Lynched. FBA's silent. Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. But Trey Reed, though, again, because they believed that he was hung by a white mob with no evidence. Oh, was so concerned about black people being lynched. It's in Mississippi. It's in the South. Oh, God, it's so terrible. No evidence whatsoever that this was a lynching, much less about a white mob. Again, if he was murdered, if Trey Reed was actually murdered, it was likely by all the black folks, in which at that point, again, they would not care about this story, right? Evidenced by their lack of concern for what happened to Mahogany Jackson. And that's why these people make me sick. That's why I can't stand them.
I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, can't stand people like that, man. Love each other, man. Pray for each other. Be there for each other, man. Like, subscribe.